Hi everyone, I'm Nicola. I'm an occupational therapist and I make videos about mental health and living well. I'm going to be talking about why nature is one of the best therapies there is and how we can make better use out of it every day. Remember when we were children growing up and we were fascinated by everything? We were running outside, climbing trees, picking up insects, jumping in streams or jumping in the sea, no matter how cold it was. How many of us were fascinated by animals, begging our parents for a pet or to go to the zoo for the 100th time? This connection to nature is actually instinctive. It's said to be genetically within all of us. I use children as an example because they're us in our purest form. They're us before we got bogged down with all of our commitments and responsibilities and even children of our own to look after. We evolved from being in nature all of the time, hunting, foraging, bathing. We depended on nature to survive. This genetic connection to nature can be understood through the theory of biophilia, the love of life and of all living things. And it starts to explain why spending time in nature is so crucial for our well-being. It's a bit like going back to our roots, a biological sense of feeling at home. The biophilia theory explains why we like to be around water, because it was so crucial for our survival. And animals too. And even the fact that we tend to like flowers, because when we would forage, the flowers, they often turned into fruit for us to eat. It also explains why we have a tendency to be afraid of things in nature, like having a fear of snakes or a fear of spiders or thunderstorms, because they could cost us our lives. We're inherently connected to nature because our lives depended on it, and they still do. So you can say you're not an outdoorsy person, but try saying that to your DNA. There are so many studies that show the positive benefits of being in nature, and that people that spend time in nature, they have a greater sense of well-being, they feel happier, and they feel more satisfied in their lives. Being in nature helps us connect with our senses. It helps us be mindful and present, stopping and seeing all the beauty that there is around us, and it can get us out of our busy, overthinking brains. Just walking in nature for 15 minutes can brighten our mood, give us time to reflect, increase our energy levels, improve our concentration, and it can even help us solve that niggling problem that we couldn't quite figure out 15 minutes before. In Japan, there's the concept of forest bathing, or immersing ourselves in the forest, because there's evidence that this can lower our blood pressure, lower our stress levels, increase our confidence, and bring us a greater sense of connection to ourselves and the world around us. Sometimes even just seeing images of things like trees and fields and flowers can increase our connection to nature and improve our well-being and our productivity. This explains why you often see these sorts of images in places where maybe you need to feel more calm, like a hospital or a doctor's waiting room or at work and in school. It's all a type of biophilic design, bringing the outside in or bringing elements of nature into our daily lives and between the four walls that we have to spend our time in. Being in nature is both energizing and restorative. It can bring us that boost of energy, and it can also calm us down if we're feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated. Connecting with nature can also help us take more responsibility for the environment, to protect it, to nurture it, because we acknowledge that we need it to survive. So changing our behavior by eating less animal products or choosing to shop locally and seasonally. These are all conscious environmental decisions that we're more inclined to make if we have a stronger sense of connection to nature. As the world becomes more and more urbanized, the amount of time we spend in nature decreases, and often the amount of access we have to nature decreases as well. But there are so many ways that we can connect with nature, and there really is something for everyone, no matter how great your sense of biophilia is. I've come up with 10 really easy suggestions, and I'm going to share them with you now. Number 1 is visit your local park. Take a notebook with you and note down 5 things that you can see when you really look around. The sort of things that you wouldn't even notice if you were on your phone or stuck in your own head. I call this 5 cool things, and I try to do it every day on my lunchtime walk. I look out for things like a new flower that's grown, or a duck's bum sticking up in the air whilst it's trying to eat weeds from below, or even just a really cute dog. This also works if you take a camera with you and take a photo of 5 things. Just don't take your phone. It becomes such a huge distraction, and then it defeats the point of being mindful. Number 2, if you have children or if you have a niece or a nephew, go to the park or the woods with them, just not a man-made playground, and watch what they do. Watch how they interact with nature and the world around them, and then copy them. Have fun with it. Do what they do. You might get covered in mud, or you might slip in a stream like I did the other day. But embrace it. You'll probably be surprised at how easy it is to slip back into being that child again. And it can also be pretty liberating as well. Number 3 is study something in nature. Study something like flowers or trees or, my personal favourite, birds. Nature can be so fascinating to watch, especially if we're looking at the bizarre behaviour of things like animals and insects. Just observe them and take notice and see what you learn. Number 4 is walk to work or to school. Even just get off at 1 stop earlier than you would before, or 2 stops earlier, and walk the rest of the way. And notice the things that you would see that you may not have seen if you were sitting on the bus or driving in your car. Number 5 is have a picnic. Who doesn't love a picnic? Take some food and sit outside and enjoy the meal mindfully, listening to the sounds that are around you. Just notice and enjoy using all of your senses. Tune into the smell and the taste that you're getting from eating your food, and the sounds around you, and the feeling of the wind or the sun, and hopefully not the rain. Number 6, grow something. It's one of the best feelings ever to plant a seed and watch it grow and know that you're keeping it alive and you're benefiting from it being there. As you can see, I'm obsessed with houseplants, and if I could have shown you the garden, there's lots of vegetables growing there too. Number 7 is paint or draw something that you found in nature or that you can see in nature. Capture all of the little details and then hang it up proudly on display in your home to remind you of the time that you really connected with nature. Number 8 is pick fresh fruit or vegetables. Whether you're foraging for wild garlic or blackberries, if you know what you're looking for, or you're picking something that you've grown of your own, even going to a farm or one of those pick your own places. It's so satisfying to pick something fresh and get to eat it there and then. And notice how different it tastes when it is fresh, or how amazing it is to taste something that you've grown yourself. Number 9, this won't suit everybody, but I'm putting it out there. Go for a wild swim. Embrace your inner child and brave the cold and jump in a lake or a river or the sea if you're lucky enough to live by the sea. Even if it's just for a few minutes of splashing around and shouting and probably swearing, it's still the most invigorating feeling, and there's lots of research that shows that cold water swimming or even just swimming outside is so beneficial to our well-being, especially for people that suffer with anxiety and depression. I'll probably do another video on that, but for now, just something to think about. Number 10. Super easy. Take your work outside or have a walking meeting. Ask to have your next meeting on a bench outside, even if it's just on a tiny patch of grass or the smallest courtyard that is available to you. Getting outside can be a real mood shifter, and you may even come up with some new ideas. If you're a bit socially awkward as well, this can be a really good coping strategy, because when you're outside and there's other things going on around you, then you don't have to sit and look somebody in the eye for a consistent amount of time. So it's also really useful for that. So there's a lot to think about there. I hope some of these can be useful for you or can be something that you can enjoy. Let me know if nature is therapy for you, and if it isn't, how can you incorporate more of it into your life so that you can get that greater sense of well-being. I will link some more resources and information down below. I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.